Students, for today's class, we are going to discuss and learn about file object attributes in Python. Remember, our topic is file object attributes in Python. During the previous class, we have learnt about the input and output methods of files in Python. As you know, myself, K.S.Praneeth Chowdary, faculty from the Department of Computer Science of SRR Government Arts and Science College, Karimnagar. What is file object and what are the attributes of file object? File object contains all the information related to that particular file. So once a file is opened and we have the file object, then we can get the various information related to that file. So in order to get or know the full information of a file, we should have known about file object. Now, what are the attributes that are related to the file object? Remember that file object contains all the information related to that file. Now, what are the things or what is the information that is inserted or that file object contains? As you see on the screen, the red lettered words are the attributes of file object and the blue letter words are the description of that attribute. The attribute file.closed returns true or false. It returns true if file is closed, and if the file is opened, it returns false. The next attribute, file.mode, returns the access mode with which the file was opened. During the last previous classes, we learnt about the access modes: R, RB, R plus, RB plus, W, WB, W plus, WB plus, A, AB, A plus and AB plus. So, in which file mode or in which access mode the file was opened will be given out by the attribute file.mode. Now coming to file name. File name returns us the name of the file. Because sometimes due to huge files or large number of files, we may forget the name of the file even though the file is opened in front of our eyes. So the file name contains or gives out the file name. Coming to the file.soft space returns either true or false based on the soft space. Returns false if space explicitly required with print, and returns true if space is not required explicitly. So these are the attributes that are related to the file object. Remember that file object gives us the information about that file. And here we saw what the information that will be given out by the file object: file closed, file mode, file name, and file soft space. Now let us see an example of the file object. Here we have opened a file using the syntax fo is equal to open foo.txt, that is the name of the file, comma wb, that is the access mode, writing in binary mode. So there you see the print option, which contains the name of the file, whether the file is closed or not, what is the opening mode, and what is the soft space flag. fo.name gives out the name of the file. fo.closed returns true or false. If the file is closed, it returns true. If the file is opened, it gives false. Since the file has been opened using the open command, it has been given the output as false there. Now we have opened the file using the access mode wb. Hence in the third line it is given that the opening mode is wb and the soft space flag has been given 0. So you see the example there, which is giving out the information regarding a file that has been opened, the name of the file, the access mode of the file, whether the file is opened or closed, and what is the soft space flag in the file. Now let us study about the close method in files. The close method of a file object flushes any unwritten information and closes the file object. Here, when the file is closed using the close method, no more writing can be done in that file. So, we have to confirm here whether the necessary information has been written in the file before closing it using the close object, because the close object of a file removes all the unwritten information before closing the file. So Python automatically closes a file when the reference object of a file is reassigned to another file. It is a good practice to use the close method to close a file, but remember that you should write the necessary information before closing the file using the close method. Here we are using the file object close. You can see the syntax there, file object dot close. As seen in the previous example, we have opened a file named foo.txt in WB mode. WB mode is writing in binary mode. So print name of the file, fo.name prints the file which is given name in the output. Then fo.close, that means the file that has been opened, foo.txt, will be closed immediately, seeing the fo.close object. Now we are going to discuss about reading and writing files. Before going to the concept of reading and writing files, here we have to be clear that the file object provides many access methods to make our programs easier. Now we are going to see how to use the read and write methods to read and write the files in Python. The write method. Here the write method writes or inputs any string to an open file. It is important to note that Python strings can have binary data and not just text, because we think that strings contain text, but Python strings have binary data along with the text. Here the passed parameter is the content to be written into the opened file. So whatever we write, it writes in the file that has been opened. Let us see an example here for the write method. Syntax: file object dot write string. We have opened the file and fo.write. Python is a great language. Yeah, it's great. So there you see the \n. \n is writing in a new line. So after that the file has been closed, fo.close. Now the text, Python is a great language. Yeah, it's great. Has been written in the file that has been opened. The file name is foo.txt. Now the read method. The read method reads a string from an open file. Remember about the write method. The write method writes a string to an open file. The read method reads a string from an open file. Here also the same thing has been repeated, that Python strings have binary data along with the text. But in read method, the passed parameter is the number of bytes to be read from the open file. This method starts reading from the beginning of the file, and if the count is missing, it tries to read as much as possible until the end of the file. We'll be knowing about this read method in the example. So you can see there, file object dot read, count is there here, but when you see the write method, only string was given as the input. But in read method, count is being given there. So the file has been opened. The file has been read. Now the print string, read string is str. File is closed. So here the read string actually should contain only the 10 letters, that is PYTHON space IS space. Here we do not see a great language. Here it's great because the second line has been given the command to write only the 10 letters. So here the output is given wrong. We see only the output here as Python is, that's all, because Python contains 6 letters, is contains 2 letters, and before is and after is there is a space which will be treated as a blank space alphabet. So dear students, for today's class, just take a review of all the things that we have learned today, discussed today. file object attributes, which contains the information related to a file. And what are those attributes of the file object? File closed. It tells us whether the file is closed or open. If the file is closed, it gives out true as an answer. If the file is opened, then it gives false as the answer. Next, file mode. It gives out in which mode the file has been opened. Next, file name gives out the name of the file. Next, file dot soft space returns false if space is required with print. Or true otherwise. See the example there, which is giving out the name, the status of the file, the mode of the file, and the soft space. We learned that every file should be closed using the close method to save the necessary data and to remove the unnecessary data. See the example. Next, the methods to read and write files to and from Python. The write method writes a string into the opened file, but the thing we have to note here that Python strings not only contain text, but they also contain binary data. See the example. Next, the read method. It reads the string from an open file, but here what has to be read from the file will be decided by the parameter count. You can see the example here. In the second line, it has been given as str is equal to fo.read 10. Here, the output has been given mistake, which should contain only Python is, because it should read only 10 letters. Python contains 6 letters. The next space is treated as a blank space. Next is 2 letters and the next blank space. So dear students, thank you for your silent hearing. Thank you.